episode of The Soul of the Matter. And I am your host, Charlotte Jones.
And I am your co-host, Charlie Bowens.
Hey, Charlie.
Hey, Mom.
How your day going?
Good.
Good, good. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Let's do it. On this podcast, we have conversations or we explore situations and circumstances of the soul. Mm-hmm. And as we know, the soul consists of our thoughts, right?
Yes.
And so as I was preparing and getting ready for this episode, it reminded me of my thought life a long time ago. And during that time in my life, I had negative thoughts about myself. And we know that negative thoughts can bring low self-esteem, low self-worth, and just not loving yourself.
Yes.
But I thank God that over the years, He has processed me. He has allowed me to capture those thoughts, and He has allowed me and taught me how to do soul work,
Yes.
so that my thought life can become better. And because of that, now I love myself. Right? And so this being February and this being Love Month, we wanted to talk about love.
Yes.
Some form of love. We didn't want to do the couples thing, but we wanted to do self-love.
Self-love.
And so I think it's very important that we learn to love ourselves. So for me, Charlie, self-love is accepting and appreciating yourself, your flaws and all, and treating yourself with kindness and with grace.
Yes.
How would you define self-love?
I would say that sums it up pretty well. I think that, when you love yourself, like you said, you have grace on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You appreciate yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You have accountability for the things that you do wrong, but you don't let that linger
Yeah.
on yourself. And you just have to realize that it's just a work in progress.
Yeah, it's a work in progress.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing of self-love that I thought about is like honoring yourself, celebrating yourself. That's a form of love.
Yeah.
Like, when you have accomplishments in life or you do things, don't let those things go by. Love yourself, celebrate yourself, honor yourself, because it probably took a lot of school and a lot of
Effort, time.
to get to where you are.
Yeah.
So if nobody else do, don't just sit at home and mope. Go out there and love on you and celebrate and honor yourself.
And I think it's okay to do that. I think some people might look at that as selfish or ego or whatever, but no, when you love on yourself, I think that is necessary. It is okay to celebrate and clap for yourself.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's a negative thing, or we should look at that as a thing that's, I don't even know the word to say, but yeah, I think it's very important to clap for yourself.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think a lot of people sometimes also, they get lost in relationships, and we might touch a little bit on this a little later, but they in their relationship, they are giving so much that they don't, they forget to love yourself. So it's okay to be selfish sometimes.
Yes.
and love on you. And part of self-love is self-care. And I know that sometimes we use those terms interchangeably, but I think there is a little difference. I think self-care is maintaining yourself, like self-care, caring for myself. Like, I'm gonna go get my nails done, do some self-care. I'm gonna go get a massage. So I think it's a little different than self-love, because self-love meaning it's a little deeper. What do you think?
I do agree. I think some people could be good at keeping their hair done, keeping their nails done, keeping the outer side of them top tier, while the inside of them is crumbling. Because they're neglecting the deep stuff that they need to work on.
Yeah.
But they know how to keep the outside looking good. So I do think that they're different.
They are different.
They're absolutely different to me.
Self-love is like a deeper.
Self-love is a deeper thing. I think self-love is where you take accountability for your actions to yourself and others. I think it's more of a soul work that you have to do in order to love yourself, just like it is when you love others. There's work that has to be done. It's not just putting on makeup and lipstick.
Yeah.
It's actually intentional work that you have to do to show yourself and others love.
Because when I was having those negative thoughts years ago about myself, honey, I was still looking good.
Right.
My hair was still laid. My little nails were done. But on the inside, I was still having those negative thoughts.
Right.
And so you can be beautiful and all jacked up on the inside.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that before we move on from that, I think, like you said, I'm happy you brought that up. I think a lot of people do get that twisted, and I think a lot of people do show their self-love more so on the outer, making sure that they look good and not and neglecting if you feel good, if you're doing good, if your mental state is good. So I think that hopefully we can touch on a little bit more on that later. But
Okay.
yes.
And just add a little bit more to that, see, so when you do your soul work and you're no longer having negative thoughts about yourself and others, it'll, and I know a lot of times I say once you get your soul healed, it affects every other area of your life, and I really truly mean that, because once you capture those negative thoughts, you're no longer behaving in certain ways.
Right.
You're no longer allowing people to treat you any kind of way. You've
Right.
set boundaries. You love yourself. I'm not going to allow you to do that to me.
Right.
And because I have allowed myself, now that I love myself, I've set boundaries, and I'm not going to jack up my finances, and I'm not going to jack up my relationships, and I present to my relationships, whether it's my husband, my children, at work, I present better because my thoughts are better, and I now love me.
Absolutely.
So let's pivot just a little bit. The Bible says to love your neighbor as yourself. But what if I don't love myself? How do I know when I'm not loving myself?
Ooh, I think that's a good question. I think you don't love yourself. That I love that quote, because the way you know that is in how you treat others. Because if you have a nasty attitude, you have a negative attitude, you can't clap for anybody else. You can't lift and support anyone else. To me, that's when we need to start looking inward and say, why am I so nasty to other people? Why am I rude to other people?
Yeah.
People will also call you out and tell you.
Yeah.
You know how you're coming across. And I feel if 2, 3, 4, or 5 people are kind of collectively telling
Then
you,
you need to check
then
yourself.
you need to take a step back and really reflect and figure out what's causing you to behave that way. And 9 times out of 10, there's a breakdown in how you view yourself.
Yeah.
Because like you said earlier, when you're healed, whole, complete, that comes off. Other people can see that. You can clap for other people. You can bring joy into other people's lives. Your words are not negative. They are positive to other people.
Yeah. So another way that you know that you're not loving yourself is, like I was doing in the beginning, negative self-talk, but then you also have like not giving yourself the grace. So you're always constantly beating yourself up. Like,
Yeah.
Charlotte, you didn't do this, or Charlotte, you know how we can be hard on ourselves. So not giving ourselves the grace and the patience that we need to give ourselves.
Yeah.
It's okay that you didn't, work out for an hour today. You only worked out for 30. Don't beat yourself up for that, And to me, another way that shows that you don't love yourself is allowing the opinions of other people to dictate how you treat yourself.
I think that's true too. I think that's the flip side of what we're saying, meaning when you don't love yourself, yes, you can be negative, but I think it could be a flip where when you don't love yourself, you can be so positive to other people and neglect you. So I feel like you have to figure out where you land in both of those. And I had a question on here. Why is it easy to show others love before we show ourselves love sometimes?
That's a good question.
And
Audience, put in the comment, what do you think? Why do we show so much love to others but not ourselves? Because we think because we don't love ourselves, maybe they are more
valuable, or I don't know. I think it could be because if you don't love yourself and you're not validating yourself, maybe you
want always think other people are better than you.
Right. And then
not that we're supposed to be here, but you're going to always think somebody project is better than yours, their answers are better than yours because of how you value yourself.
And I think because of that, maybe you putting this person on a pedestal, them validating you back, makes you feel some type of form of love or appreciation, instead of you finding the uniqueness in yourself and what greatness you have in yourself. So I do think that people will love on other people all day long and neglect themselves for whatever the reason.
Because they don't see themselves as worthy of that honor or worthy of that validation or acknowledgement or appreciation.
Or they have a lack of telling themselves that, like you said earlier, of clapping for your own self. You can clap for other people, but for some reason you can't clap for your own
Or you
self.
think something is wrong with being selfish and putting that on you. But it's
I know I've
okay to be
struggled with that
selfish
before.
sometimes. Huh?
I said I know I've struggled with that
Struggled
before.
with
Feeling
what?
selfish, just feeling, I want to do X, Y, Z for myself. But when you, like you said, if you're a mother or you have a family, you're a wife, you have kids, whatever it is that you have, you feel like they always have to come before you. And sometimes when you want to put yourself first. Not that they make you feel guilty, but I think
you
feel guilty because, I have to play this role. I have to be mom. I have to be this. As you should, but that doesn't take away
But
who
that
you
doesn't,
are.
and that's a good segue into the strong black woman syndrome. And it's not just for black women, because I think a lot of women do this, but as a black woman, I can relate to our plight more so. So, as mothers and friends and wives and partners, we give our love to others. We cook for them, we run errands for them, we buy them gifts, and sometimes so much that we neglect ourselves.
Yeah.
We specifically, as black women, are often referred to as the strong black woman. Have you been called the strong black woman?
Yeah.
So we have this superwoman cape on, and we are the savior of the world. We are the savior of our families and our communities and our churches. And even at work, they give you extra projects because they know you can get it done. They know you're going to stay late and get it done. So,
true.
we're always wearing our capes, almost in no matter what environment that we're in.
Yes.
And we're carrying the weight of the world on our shoulders. And I remember I was praying this about a few weeks ago. It's like we are carrying the weight as black women on our shoulders, and then ignoring ourselves in the process. Because about a month or so ago, I was just feeling so tired and overwhelmed, and so of course I always go before the Lord and be like, God. And so and he reminded me that He did not create women to carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. He did not create us for that. He created us to nurture and to be nurtured.
Right.
And to be the helpmate for our husband,
Right.
of course. But we're not supposed to be superwoman.
Right.
Yeah. What do you think?
I agree, and I don't know where that term came from or why we have to wear that. And
I think it's rooted in, and this will be for another episode, but it's rooted way back in slavery times, where even coming up, even in common day, the systems and stuff is so hard on our black men that we as women always want to hold them up. We want to hold up our sons, and we want to make sure everything is good. And then it gets to the point where you just cannot carry that anymore.
Yeah. I think that's twofold. Two things came to my mind on this topic. One is I do feel like we have to be strong, and I feel like when we break down and crumble, we get criticized for that too. It's like, darn if you do, darn if you don't. You're too strong, you are looked at as, you want to take over a man's role, or you're not submissive and you're not this and that. But I just have to plug this in here. A lot of women grew up without their dads. They've seen their mother do so much.
That's why I said it was placed on us to be everything.
Right. And even in today's time, like I said, because a lot of fathers are not in the home, and a lot of women see their mom being so strong and probably putting self-love to the back burner to please everyone else or to make sure everybody else is okay. So I do feel that way, and I feel like when women are soft and they want to be in their soft girl era, it's like, you're too sensitive. It's like, I don't know. It's hard because I feel like either way we get criticized.
Yeah, I went to my husband and I said, you know what? I remember I was just telling you I was feeling so overwhelmed, and I just felt all this pressure, and I just wanted to. I'm like, I think I'm going through a bit like crisis because I don't want to do anything. I don't want to work. I don't want to cook. I don't want to do anything. I just want to be in my soft girl era. And I was really wanting to just be that. But God was teaching me that we don't have to carry the world on our shoulders, And so black women, all the black women out there, I give you permission to take off of that superwoman cape and be vulnerable and be soft and love on you. Your family gonna be there. Focus on you. Be selfish. We are women, and we are designed to be soft.
We are, and I think it's okay to admit I'm not okay today. I don't have it together. I don't have the cape today, And some days we are strong, and we feel we can conquer the world, and then there's sometimes that we don't. And I feel like either way, it's okay.
Yeah.
To feel both of those and give yourself grace in both of those areas, no matter where you are for that day.
Yeah. And during this time of my life, I think the Lord was just saying, and as you know, I don't know if you know, I ain't worked for about a month. And so but I got to start back working here in another week, child. But I thank God for the opportunity to just let me get up some downtime to just take a break and just be.
Yes.
Sometimes get up and do absolutely nothing, and be okay with that. And so he's teaching me to just be okay with nothingness.
And that's what I have on here as a question is, how do you show your self-love?
Okay.
So what are some ways that you like to show your self-love?
In a world where I work in mental health, it's it can be draining.
Yeah.
And then busyness of the life, and you have your church, and you have all the stuff that you're trying to always keep together.
Yeah.
And so for me, I just like sitting in quiet.
Me too.
So that I can hear the Lord. Another thing I love to do is when I go on walks, especially if I'm by myself, because if you're with someone, you tend to talk. But if I'm by myself and I'm walking, sometimes I found this really good, it's called the Self-Love Playlist on YouTube. And sometimes I just listen to that music and just walk and clear my mind and hear and listen, because I love to just listen. Because when I'm quiet, that's when I can really hear the Lord talk to me. So when I'm walking by myself and I'm sitting in quiet, I can really hear God talk. And another thing I love to do is I love music. Not just Christian music, but I love good, clean music. And so I like to turn it on sky high and just be dancing to it. So for me, that's self-love and brings me some joy.
Yeah.
What about you?
I agree. I'm a person, I value solidarity. I like to be alone. I like to be, not alone, but I like to have a lot of quietness in my day, so I can hear God. So I can decipher my thoughts. I feel like if your world is so cluttered and loud, it's hard for you to know which way you're supposed to pivot, and you can't hear God. So I just like to allow, I call it an altar. I try to set my altar all day where I'm like, God, whenever you want to enter in, it's quiet. There's a space for you to come, and I'm listening. So I like to have a lot of quiet. And like you, I like to put music on, clean my house. Anything that I feel like I've been kind of neglecting a little bit, I like to kind of pick back up, and that brings me joy and love, and I feel happy and I smile. And I also like to look in the mirror and just validate. You're beautiful, you're strong, you can do this, you can do that. So words of affirmation for me are also
definitely
good.
Words of affirmation. It's for and also for the women who are aging like me. I'll be 59 this year, and I'm not ashamed to say it. Yes. But with that, the way that your body is changing. You're like, I'm getting moles all over my face, and my neck is starting to do something, and and then my legs ain't as toned and cute as they used to be, and I got to rediscover my waistline. But with all of that, I still love me. I still be like, girl, you still got it going on. You can be looking worse. So, even as we age, continue to love on you. Continue to love yourself, flaws and all. Anything else?
Yeah, before we close, I want to put this question out there, because we're talking about self-love, and I feel like a lot of it is positive, and I'm happy that we are able to touch on that. But I want everyone to think about why they fall out of love with themselves, because I feel like we need to focus on that, so that we can get to love, so that we can love ourselves and everything around us, so that everything around us is fruitful and positive and makes God happy and makes us happy. And I just want everyone to think about the reasons why you fall out of love with yourself, whatever they are, is to find it in yourself to do that work, so that you can smile when you look at yourself in the mirror and love on yourself.
So fall in love with yourself again.
Yeah, fall in love with yourself again. So I just want to say, think about reasons why you fall out of love with yourself, and figure out how we can turn that into self-love.
It could be again. Like, I'm just thinking of some reasons. Like, you can, job interviews. I know sometimes people are looking for jobs, and interview after interview, they keep getting turned down. So at some point, you're going to start like, is it me? And start beating yourself up. Or relationship after relationship keeps messing up, and you start, bringing that inward. So I think it's if you continue to bring things inward, you're going to always think it's you. So you have to always find an outlet to release.
I think it also goes back to the strong black woman thing. When we don't feel like we're strong, and we don't feel like we have it together, and we feel like, I feel like that can make us be so hard on ourselves, to where we don't feel worthy. We don't, we don't feel like I'm supposed to be hitting every box, and when we're not doing that, we start to be mad at ourselves for not living up to that standard. whatever it is. So I feel like that, and I feel like, you know, frustration can make you fall out of love with yourself. Other people's views of you, like you say, if man after man is telling you something that can make you.
It's easy to look at yourself and say something is wrong with me.
And there's something wrong with being accountable. But within the accountability, you have to have grace.
Yeah.
And, you know, knowing, okay, I'm in this weird limbo of realizing I have an issue, but also realizing I'm still valuable and God still has a plan for me.
Yeah.
So I think that, you know, we have to learn how to have grace while we're in that in-between area of
Yeah.
finding ourselves. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Any closing remarks?
My closing remarks would be that no matter what you're going through, as long as you have breath in your body, God has something for you. In that you have to find an area to show your self-love, whether that's quiet, music, a walk, whatever it is. Just create a space for you to reflect so that you can hear your own thoughts and figure out what you need to do to water yourself, you know, so that you can grow and love on yourself.
Yeah. My closing remarks is just a reminder to Black women in general, that, you know, take off of that superwoman cape and love on you. All that you are giving to others, give to yourself. It's okay to be selfish sometimes. It really is. It'll help you to refocus and to reset. What is that India Irie song?
Which one?
Balance. It's almost like get back to the middle. It'll help you to kind of recenter yourself. That song is on that self-love playlist that I have.
Oh, yeah, find a playlist.
Yeah, I love
of
listening
songs
to
that make you feel
yeah,
good.
it's called a self-love playlist on YouTube. So you deserve to be cared for and loved by you.
By you.
Not by others. Others may not love you, but you have to be able to know that you can love you. So we hope you enjoyed this episode. I enjoyed it. It helped me to kind of dig deep and to really discover self-love. And I was actually walking through the Black woman, strong woman thing. So it helped me to kind of to refocus and to just take a pause and exhale and just to continue to love myself, be selfish, and be okay with it. So again, I hope you enjoyed the episode, and we'll see you next time on the next episode of The Soul of the Matter. Thank you.